Hello and thank you for joining us on Niaga Awani. I'm your host Nina Rosman, and today is a very special episode where we are honoured to be joined by the President and Group of CEO of Petronas, Sri Tengku Taufik, with us. I want to say thank you very much, Sri, for joining me. Definitely out of these 3 days you've been busy, hectic, and definitely a lot of questions to be answered within this. Firstly, coming out of Energy Asia 2025, definitely we've heard bold ambitions of how can we transition cleaner energy across Asia. And from your vantage point of view as the regional energy leader, how will you assess the current region stance in turning all of this ambition into bankable and large-scale execution, Sri?
Thank you for the question, and thank you to Astro for having me as part of the show. We value the support that you've given. Energy Asia has surfaced a number of realities that we expected, in fact, the degree of pragmatism required by the region in delivering an energy transition. Like it or not, at the heart of ASEAN, with 700 million people, with an energy demand trajectory, I think our Prime Minister himself highlighted that in Malaysia there's a 6.5% demand growth expectation over the next few years, and in fact with the entire region showing a push towards urbanization, a growth in middle income, more industrialization, as well as now adoption of more digitalization, and of course the influx of AI and data centers, we are going to look at the region continuing its trajectory of 3 to 4% growth, which is it has exhibited since the beginning of the century. With this kind of expectation, addressing energy demand now needs to be carefully curated and planned. So as a region, while we are abundantly endowed with natural resources, we still have multi-TCF finds of natural gas, we still have discoveries of oil. In responding to how we create a more sustainable future for the region, clean energy investments or carbon abatement projects for that matter need to come in hand. And at Energy Asia, what was surfaced is the degree of pragmatism will need to be reflected in delivering energy in a way that is affordable, secure, reliable, because it needs to still support economic activity and industrialization, but with an eye on the planet's climate health. We are also at the center of the region with an archipelago of more than 20,000 islands, hundreds of thousands of kilometers of coastline. We are the most prone to facing climate change challenges, and anywhere from flooding, anywhere from soil erosion, soil movement, we are at risk, and we do not want to have to contend with climate refugees year in, year out. So this balance in pursuing delivering energy security for the region needs to also address the dimension of cleaner energy, so we'll have a more sustainable future.
And one of the strong themes we noticed from Petronas this year is to focus or emphasis on collaborations, not just between the governments, cooperation, but also between borders, technologies, and even industries. Why is collaboration such a key focus for Petronas at Energy Asia?
In Energy Asia, one key observation, and indeed what we deliberately planned for, was to have cross-sectoral participation. You will not see this forum being dominated by only oil and gas players. You see power and utilities present, you see clean tech providers, financial institutions. We can't only think about collaboration from the lens of being within one industry. We have to make sure that the eventual energy system addresses the entire shift towards a lower carbon, if not a zero carbon system. This is why collaboration underpins the rallying call for Energy Asia, as we ask people to support the journey to deliver Asia's energy transition. We can't do this without having, as you mentioned, across borders, across sectors, across industries, the kind of cooperation levels unprecedented. A very good example and a proof point of this is what we've done with Vietnam, which has had an abundance of offshore wind. Malaysia is going to take that and also transport it through to Singapore. This requires not only the expertise from people like ourselves and Petro Vietnam for offshore construction, but also the stability of the grid. The expertise comes from national utilities, so we can serve markets in Singapore that really require them. But in doing this and emulating this, a lot of capital needs to flow into the region. I highlighted almost 90 trillion US dollars need. Our Prime Minister said just to upgrade the grid, we will need north of 43 billion ringgit, and TNB has to deploy this. But this is capital that's sorely needed to support the demand I just mentioned earlier.
And definitely this is an amazing journey for Petronas, and amidst all the strategic dialogue, partnerships and even vision sharing at Energy Asia, let's bring it home, Tan Sri. What does it mean for all of us, especially for Malaysia?
For Malaysia, particularly given our role this year, and I don't want to speak out of turn, our Prime Minister has played a pivotal role with Malaysia being the chair for ASEAN. We stand at a unique cusp of a period where unprecedented levels of understanding and collaboration can be enabled. ASEAN has enjoyed very long periods without conflict. ASEAN has collectively, even though it's at different paces and people have different starting points, all heading towards mass urbanization, more industrialization, and everyone pursuing their own dimension and version of the fifth industrial revolution. In order to service all this, I think the only way to actually ensure, and we had an opening montage which demonstrated that even though as the region had an abundance of resources, be it depleting or renewable, long coastlines, abundant solar irradiance, however, demand centers and where this can be found are two different places. And we have to make sure there is reach, there is inclusivity, and this fits well with what ASEAN wants to deliver, sustainability and inclusivity.
Sustainability and inclusivity, it's one of the objectives that we want to bring forward so we can lead the conversation moving forward, and how can we shape the future of Energy Asia. And over the past few days at Energy Asia, definitely a lot of delegation, almost around 4,000 with 52 sponsors, corporate sponsors, and then we have almost 180 speakers internationally. And some of the regional leaders also highlighted the complexity they face. One of the challenges that Asia faced, from navigating or accelerating the clean energy transition to navigating uncertainty to geopolitical tensions. Specifically for Petronas, how does Petronas transformation plan to address directly to all of these realities across Asia?
Much like any other investor within the energy space, and pretty much any investor in general, what you're looking for is policy coherence. What you're looking for is the right amount of return for the right amount of risk so that capital can be deployed. At the sidelines of Energy Asia, there was a caucusing of many energy leaders in a forum we called Eagle. And there was a very good, transparent, open and candid conversation around why this is not happening enough. There is a disproportionate, and you refer to ASEAN, there's a disproportionate amount of spend for renewable and clean tech if we strip out China. If we strip out China, ASEAN maybe enjoys at best up to only 15% of the kind of shift in energy transition spending. And we have this dimension to contend with, because policy does not start equally for everyone in ASEAN. We've got people with less mature economies, and we are looking at a phenomena where we have people earning US $2,000 GDP per capita, all the way up to 93,000. So the policy responses, the carrot and sticks, the incentives that we deal with are different. But what we can work together with many of our contemporaries is, even in delivering the conventional sources of energy, we can commit to make sure that this is delivered cleaner with less emissions. Very good example, Petronas has worked towards getting gold certification under OGMP, the methane principles. We are avoiding zero routine flaring and venting, so that even as we deliver energy today, it's cleaner with existing systems. While that's being done, Petronas is taking the steps, as you know, having a clean energy vehicle like Gentari, delivering clean energy solutions through renewables, a target of at least 20 gigawatts, and of course green hydrogen, and promoting green mobility.
From small plan to big plans, from short-term to long-term planning, how will Petronas accelerate its growth moving forward?
This is the challenge. We are in a period, and I think you've heard this term before because Petronas is now using it a little bit more liberally. It's polycrisis. We are going through a period of change which has grown in frequency, grown in scale of disruption, and I think we cannot do an about face. When we take on capital decisions, we take on capital decisions with an investment horizon that goes beyond any government administration period or elected government's period. We have to make sure that we serve the needs of our customers while taking care of our stakeholders, while being responsible. And in doing so, these investments will need to be done with a long-term view in mind. In-period KPIs may not be appropriate as a measure here, but we are going to push through and remain consistent in delivering what we believe is going to be a preparation for the next system.
Correct. Talking about the measure using KPI, probably like you mentioned, is not suitable as all of these situations are full of uncertainty. And will Petronas continue to diverse upstream, downstream international ventures? How is it, downstream?
We manage all our investments as a portfolio. The process and activity of portfolio optimization is a normal course of activity for any enterprise such as ours. I think the lens that has been applied here is the apparent perception that Petronas is offloading assets. In fact, it's using our assets, Petronas is using our assets as currency to grow our funnel beyond this near term. A very good example, I think now that I can speak about it, we've gone to the JV framework agreement stage with our partner ENI. Part of our Malaysia assets. Am I moving too far back for you?
No,
okay. With the JVFA that we've signed with ENI, the assets now help build up a funnel of hydrocarbon production in the future, giving us a longer life for our total portfolio reserves. In our partnerships with Total, it is monetizing more difficult fields, but attaining what we hope to deliver, which is advantage barrels. We need to deliver them with lower cost and lower emissions. And all of this is part of addressing the harsh reality of today, where 70 to 80% of our energy systems still powered by fossil fuels. You can't displace them overnight, but as we start to roll in renewables, more robust grids, we need to supply energy to those who need it in a more responsible fashion. We do this through partnerships. And what is perceived to be divestment is in fact creating a longer runway for Petronas to continue its growth.
All right, amazing. We look forward to seeing how this conversation turns into action for the region and Malaysia. Again, Tan Sri, I want to say thank you very much for your time and sharing the insight. Hope to see you again. Definitely, I will release you for a very, very busy week for you. And again, for those who missed out my exclusive interview with Group and Petronas CEO of Petronas, Sri Tengku Taufik, you can catch how the conversation of Petronas not only continues to lead the conversations of energy transition, but also shaping the directions of Asia's energy future. And definitely you can feature and see all of this in astroawani.com and across all of our social media platforms.